before we get into Fusion, I've been playing lots of Frontier. Did you play that for mobile?
I tried it a little bit, yeah. When John Finger had it, I played it on his phone.
I'm enjoying that. It's fun. One of my favorite things about Trials is trying to survive the cruel things that they're going to do to you at the end of the race course. Like some you have no option. You just go like flying off into oblivion. But some they actually like throw projectiles at you and stuff. And like if you're doing a course so many times, it's kind of fun to like try to avoid them or actually try to like not totally die horribly at the end of each course.
They do some crazy ones, and in the new DLC, they do some really crazy ones. But the best is when they take forever to kind of happen, and you finish, and you're just sitting there waiting to see what actually happens. It takes like 30 seconds, and then your rider starts to get killed in a really weird way.
So I love Trials. GT loves Trials as a company.
Yeah.
When that first game came out, it was just one of those games that kind of like flat out. There's just so much destruction and randomness, and it's really fun to like Dark Souls. It's just fun to watch people play, because you know something terrible is going to happen pretty soon. But they came out. So I've tried Trials Fusion. I don't think I beat the whole thing. I got up to the point where it started getting really uncomfortable. I think it was like 2 courses out from like actually finishing all of them, and I'm like, I can sleep at night by now finishing those 2. But definitely want more content. Perfect game to just release more stuff. And they've released the Ride of the Rustlands. What is the name?
Riders of the Rustlands.
Riders of the Rustlands.
So this is the first DLC that Fusion has released, and they have planned. They've already let us know they're going to release 6 different DLCs over the next year, which is
that's a lot.
Something.
I think they actually came out with a trailer where they listed all of them in the DLC, which is great because a lot of people don't do that.
Right at the beginning, they're pushing the season pass really hard by just showing you they're going to come out with all this DLC over the whole year. By the time you end with that, you're going to have so much content. It's going to be way more than a full retail game. You're going to get it for like $30 altogether. And
pretty varied. I think like the tech vibe that was going on in Fusion was fun, and it was new for the series and like gorgeous on Xbox One and PS4. But it's nice to get like a little more variety. You can tell just from the screenshots of like what they're releasing so far of the expansion stuff. It's like I can't recall any of them off the top of my head, but like maybe one's like a volcano area or something like that. I know there was definitely some that seemed to like to have a strong elemental bent. So what's like the theme of the new one? So this one is Riders of the Rustlands, and they've introduced this other sort of part. So in the main game, you're playing that futuristic, those clean modern cities for the most part and stuff. This one now is sort of this Mad Max-esque outskirts where the outsiders live, basically. So it's this ruined buildings and all sorts of like desert locales. They have some snow in there, but a totally different vibe than the first one. And of course, it comes with a bunch of new assets for the editor also, so it's really cool. And speaking of the editors, is that something you've messed around with? I just started on, so I played the courses last week, but then I started messing around with the editor this weekend. And it's really cool. The first thing that stood out is that previously in Trials Evolution, when you got a DLC pack, it actually came with a new regional map. So you had different regions, Pain Island and et cetera, that you could actually whole new areas of terrain that you could design courses on. So this one doesn't give you that. This one, the map in Fusion already has all these different regions within one self-contained map. So this one doesn't give you a new region, but it just gives you a bunch of new assets to play with and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And, I started off making a jungle course, and I'm not finished yet. It takes a while. What was the theme?
I built, in Fusion, I completed a course that's pretty cool that we might be able to show later this week if we're able to do some streaming or something, me and Huber.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So how much time do you think you spend in the editor as opposed to actually just running through the game?
The editor is what you can really get lost in if it appeals to you, because I haven't played a game that has a level editor that's this, just completely deep and engaging. The way, once you get over the, little bit of a learning curve and you get used to the interface of controlling it, it's just the most addictive experience because you're designing this level and you're constantly testing it and you're constantly designing, and the way your creativity is engaged is, you're going from now I'll design some of the world, now I'm going to go back to making this little ramp work, now I'm going to mess with this physics thing and to make this work. There's many different ways you can constantly be going. Right. So your mind is just constantly engaged and it's extremely entertaining, and then at the same time you're getting to play it constantly. So it's really like a game.
Something you should continually play while you're doing it, because you don't want to set up this gorgeous thing and all of these elements, and then you get into it and it's like, oh, that jump doesn't work at all, and then crap, I gotta move
constantly
on this stuff
play
now.
Testing it, but it doesn't feel like a repetitive, frustrating kind of play testing where other level editors I played, you just can't wait to finish your level so you can play it. Yeah. This one's not like this. This one, half the fun is just playing the level. So the earlier one I did for Fusion, I spent a week on designing, and it's pretty solid. There's ships that fly around, there's a bunch of cool jumps, there's some physics stuff that happens, nothing too crazy. But then previously on Evolution, I spent a whole month at one point, just literally every day when I'd get off of work, 8 hours a day. I would just leave work, I'd come home and I'd enter that universe and just play Trials for a month straight.
So what did they do with Fusion to upgrade just kind of becoming a heavy level editor discussion, but I actually really got in. I think the first trials had it, right?
Yeah.
I think I tried to make the Batcave, because I'm a big Batman fan, so it was just this big drop going through the industrial area. 'Cause
Yeah.
it also kind of fit the style of what they're doing.
The first trials, you were inside the warehouse mainly, and then Evolution, they took it outside. You started having real world terrain, and now they just brought it into the future as the big.
Was there anything they did in Fusion in the expansion that kind of gave you ideas, fun little loops that they would do, or what I've noticed that they've gotten a lot more creative in with some of the later Trials games is. You kind of go over a chasm and you're there's nothing for me to land on, and then some mountain will crumble and it'll actually make the road that you go on, or just kind of you're bringing in the track and removing it in different ways, which you just kind of have to not pay attention to because it can throw you off.
Totally, yeah. They have self-assembling tracks in this one, which totally makes sense for the futuristic vibe because you have all these mechanical things coming together. But yeah, it's that sort of deal where you really can't look at what's happening. You've just got to focus on, so you don't wreck. But then as a viewer, it's really fun because you can be, if you're not playing it, you're there with your buddy, you can actually see what's happening in the background and pay attention to that stuff. Yeah.
Do you think the series is going to be relevant for a long time? Do you think it's evolving at a good pace? Do you think are you a fan not just of the franchise but what the developers have been doing with it, with the brand?
When I first got Fusion, I played it a bunch. I was really into it for a few weeks, but then I kind of just fell off in a way that didn't happen as fast for me with the other ones. So I thought, well, maybe this is just starting to get a little, but now I've come back to it, and with the DLC, I think it has potential to keep going for a really long time because the user community is so active, and the courses that they're designing, that users are designing, are consistently even more impressive than what the developers are making. Really just far out amazing things that blow you away, and it's free to play, really accessible. You just start the track, load it up, you're playing it, and you have hundreds to choose from. People design kind of lousy courses too, but overall they're mind-blowing, so just the level of activity with that makes me feel like this is going to keep going for a while.
So I got bad news, man. You got to get the season pass
so
we can come back. So get the season pass, and then what do you say, 6 months is when they're going to be releasing the stuff?
I think they said over the course of a year they're going to release 6 different packs. So there's 5 more, so I guess every couple months almost, they're going to be doing every few months, 3
I think
months.
we can vary out an episode, every
Once
couple
in a
months.
while.
We'll bring you back in and how was the latest one. But it's good to see you on an editorial
Thank
report,
you for having me.
Donnie Boy. It's going to be nice that working on Pop Fiction and Pop Facts and stuff like that, mostly behind the camera. Sometimes shooting cameras for some of our shoots, but you play games too, darn it. Maybe definitely when Mortal Kombat X comes out, we'll sit you down to chat about that. So I appreciate it, man.
Awesome, thank you.